Geez, dude, you need to change your blinker fluid.
That's not a thing.
And your thoracic couplet is totally shot.
Really?
It is.
Look, nothing gets by me. Just like this oil filter. Nothing gets by Purolator.
Hey, if you're using Purolator Boss, you know your stuff.
Oh yeah, protection up to 15,000 miles.
Ooh, but you really should replace your Vesuvius valve.
Stop talking.
Purolator oil, air, and cabin air filters. Nothing gets by us. Available at Advance Auto Parts, Pep Boys, and other fine retailers.
Blog Talk Radio.
Howdy, race fans. How the hell are you? Steve Big Sweat Billmyer here, hosting tonight's episode of Racing with Big Sweat, the show that features all local short track drivers and how they're doing and seeing what they do. Glad y'all are here. Let me introduce you to the people that are here helping me. First of all, my producer, my man about town, the man who I couldn't do any of this without, the one and only Mr. CJ Sports. CJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here tonight. Got the ARCA Series race on. Get to catch a few of the guests we've had on both of our shows as Dylan Martin's running tonight. So kick it back, watch some racing, and get an opportunity to listen to a good show tonight.
How's Dylan doing early on?
He had a pretty strong car, but he had something mechanically go wrong with it, and so the night's gone bad really quick.
Damn.
Yeah,
and
he's 23rd right now. 23rd right now, but he's off. He's out of the race.
Yeah, I heard that. Hate to hear it for Dylan. And let's get my other partner in here, the Mississippi Madman, the man from down that way who keeps me informed on all the dirt track racing going on and helps educate me in the process. You here with us, Chris? Yellow Caution Flag.
Chris is not in the studio yet.
Well, no surprise.
Mr. Technical Difficulties.
Yeah, he's got his mute button on.
Oh, goodness.
Well, we deal with it as we go. See, we got our guest already called in, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, good deal. Without further ado, let's get on with this thing. Our first guest is a young lady manhandling sprint cars out in Nebraska and the surrounding area. Very interesting lady to talk to. We've had her on the show before and always look forward to talking to her again. Miss Shayle Bade, how are you tonight, Shayle?
I am doing really good, minus my strep throat. But other than that, everything is great.
Oh, man, strep throat and got to sit here and talk. Well, the sacrifices you make, eh?
It's all for doing what we love most, right? All about that racing.
There you go. That's what it's all about. Let's get down to the important stuff first. Tell us about Smokey Bacon. How's he doing?
Smokey is doing really good. Just had her dinner, so now she's sleeping. She won't get up till her midnight snack, but all is well. Everything is going good. Turns out Smokey's a little overweight, which who would have guessed, right? So Smokey's on a strict diet.
I bet she's hating that.
She is. She's eating anything she can find.
I bet. How much is Smokey weighing in nowadays?
She is 95 pounds, and we need to drop about 20 pounds, which in the summertime it's going to be extremely hard to do because she eats grass all day when I'm at work. Since I can take her to work with me, she just grazes all day. And at 5 o'clock, she comes in the shop, and she's like 20 pounds heavier every day. So I'm like, well, this diet's really going to have to hit hard in the wintertime because there's not much I can do about it now.
Yeah, She comes in and wants to know what's for dinner after grazing all day, huh?
Exactly. That's the only thing on her mind is food.
Well, that's a pot-belly pig with a little extra pot-belly on it. Where does she sleep?
She has her own bedroom, so she's got like a twin bed in there, a little couch, and the whole 9 yards.
Got her own suite, huh?
Oh, yes. Some pigs got to have the life.
There you go. Somebody's got to do it, so it might as well be Smoky Bacon.
Exactly.
Well, scratch her ears for me and tell her I said hello.
Will do.
How about your sprint car racing? How did it go this year?
We had a really good season this year, and especially at Nationals. Nationals, we had 120 cars come from all over the country, and we ended up qualifying on the second night. The first night was really hard, but the second night was a little bit better for us since the top fast 6 people got locked in. So it definitely gave us an opener for the second day, and we ended up locking it in, and we won that heat race. How they did, let me set this all up for you. So how they ran this is they had 14 heat races. If you win your heat race, you go to the A main. If you're in second, then you go to the B. Third place, you go to the C, and then it goes on down. So we ended up winning our heat race on Saturday night by 200 tenths of a second, passing for the checkered flag. It was so intense. Yeah, it was super intense. Like that race right there, even as a heat race, felt more like an A main win than the whole weekend. Like that heat race was a highlight of our team's racing weekend, which kind of sucks, but then again, we have 120 of the baddest guys and girls coming to Eagle Raceway to race on the world's fastest third mile, so we really couldn't complain. We made the show. We got locked in a day in advance and had a blast with everybody who came up from. We got a lot of friends from like Texas and Pennsylvania, so it's always good to see everybody and to catch up since we didn't get to see them from last year. So it was a good catch-up, fun, good trip.
Sounds like it was a cool deal. A lot of cars there. How'd you do in the main?
In the main, we had a few issues right off the get-go. As soon as we got fired up to do our parade lap, my car wouldn't start, and so I ended up pulling up, and I missed the parade lap, and then they ended up taking the green flag when I'm still getting my car fixed. Luckily for me, there was a red flag on the first lap, so that allowed me enough time to get our car right and to get back on the track before the first lap. And therefore, I had to start 27th, and I got all the way up to 12th. So it was a pretty good run. I wish we would have done better, especially since it's our home track. I really wanted to be in the top 5, but then again, I'm happy with being in the top 15, especially with all the drivers, all the amazing drivers that come down here. So I think 12th, not too bad. We're up there.
Not bad at all, especially when you're dealing with 120 cars to start with. That's pretty darn good. You did good in the Nationals. How about what is your home track?
Eagle Raceway is our home track, and that's actually where Nationals was held this year.
Cool deal. Well, that was a double bonus for you.
Yeah.
Any highlights from the regular season at Eagle River?
Well, highlights, we won on my dad's birthday, which would have been our first win of the season. We should have had 2 wins prior, but I got a little high, got a little excited with 7 laps to go, and ate the wall, broke my steering arm and a couple of my front end bars. So that was pretty devastating, but after taking the win for my dad's birthday, it just erased all of those bad times back, It was just a really good thing for the team. We all needed it. And what sucks is it came really late in the year, so we were just perking at nationals, and now our season is pretty much over here in Nebraska.
What have you got left to run?
We have 2 races at Columbus, US 30 Speedway, and those are rain-out races for the Sprint Series of Nebraska. And what's really funny is we were supposed to be at Columbus 4 times prior, but every time on Thursday, Mother Nature always thinks it needs to rain on Thursdays in Columbus, so it did 4 times. And now we're supposed to be racing next weekend on Friday and Saturday, a double show. And it looks like we're not going to have good weather, but we'll see what Mother Nature brings. We can only hope for the best.
It is Thursday and it is Columbus, so what can you do? Give everybody. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. Do you own your own business? Did I see that right?
Kind of, yes. I am self-employed. I do hydro dipping and chroming, and then I also do all of the paint work at work. So I fix, like, collision cars and do restorations and do anything custom.
Cool deal, cool deal. What's the name of the company?
Hydroglyphics.
There you go. Get it out there. Get some advertising for it. Sounds like you stay pretty busy. I know you work with the people at Chicks Wear Racing Gear, too. Tell us about that.
Yes, Chicks Gear Racewear. They are one of my biggest sponsors, and if you haven't checked them out, for all of your female racing needs, they have some amazing shirts and hoodies that are for dirt racing and asphalt racing. They do have some asphalt and drag strip, but they do major in dirt, but great racing products, hoodies, T-shirts, tank tops. So if you ever need something to wear for the track, go check out Chicks Gear. They got what you need.
I heard that. Sounds like you stay pretty active. Sounds like you got a pretty active lifestyle going.
Yes, definitely. But, you know, the more active, the better. That's the less downtime I got to get in trouble. That's the way I look at it.
That's kind of the way I look at things, too. Well, that's cool. Give us a little background on how you got involved in racing. How old were you and where did you start and everything?
Yeah, I started when I was 8 years old. I started racing a go-kart, and my first race was at Nebraska City Raceway, which is no longer a racetrack. So after Nebraska City closed down, after 2 years that I was racing go-karts, we moved to Waverlink Raceway Park, which is now, again, no longer a racetrack, and started there. And after we dominated in go-karts for 8-9 years, we finally made the jump to a micro sprint and raced micro sprints all around the United States, competed in the Tulsa Shootout and the Show Me Showdown and all of that stuff. And as soon as I felt that I was pretty comfortable in my mini sprint, my ultimate dream was to get in a sprint car. So in 2013, Roger Hayden created a class, which is the Race Saver 305 class, to make racing cheaper for the general public. That way more people could race. And it would cut down all of your costs on your motor, basically, because motors for a 360, they range anywhere from $20,000 to $80,000, depending on how much you want to spend or what you want to get. So it was a little bit out of our price range. So when Roger created the 305 Race Saver, you got a motor race ready for $8,000 to $10,000. And the motor rules are so strict in that 305 Race Saver class that it's very hard to gain any horsepower by doing anything. So that helps keep the cost down for everybody. And so as soon as Roger did that, Dad said we could do the sprint car, but it would be a 305 for the first few years. And so I've been in the 305 since 2013. This coming up season in 2017 will be our 4th season. And then I also have my 2 younger sisters that also race hobby stocks. So it's kind of a little family ordeal.
Do you have any brothers?
Unfortunately, no. I was my dad's first boy.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Did your dad do any racing previously? Are you from a racing family?
I'm from a racing family, but not my dad that raced. I have a cousin that races in the 360 and 410 sprint car class, Billy Alley. And then my cousin, which really got me started, who's Tom Spaniel, that raced go-karts when I was racing go-karts and is still racing around the country, winning all kinds of go-kart races. He's a phenomenal driver. So I learned from the best.
You'll have to hook me up with him so I can get him on the show.
Oh, definitely. He would love that.
Great. So you had a fairly good year this year. You've been in this class, you said, 4 years. You have any plans on moving up any farther? Maybe going to World of Outlaws or a touring series like that?
Yes, that is my ultimate dream goal in the sprint car world. I would love to be touring with the 410s, but then again, I need a little bit more sponsors under my belt before we can make that big jump. And then I also have to be kind of somewhat considerate of my 2 younger sisters that race hobby stocks. Since we all race at the same track, we all get the same amount of track time. So if I leave, then it's going to kind of cut into their racing. But, yes, I definitely plan to. I think we're even going to try to rent a ride for the Chili Bowl this year, which would be pretty cool.
Ooh. That's going to be really cool. Good luck on that.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the races that's on my bucket list. I want to go there and see that show. I've heard it's just beyond belief.
If you it is, once you go, it is so hard not to go. It is a one-of-a-kind type of racing experience.
Mm-hmm. That'd be neat for sure.
Steve, since I'm sitting to begin with, I figured I'd sit in with you for Chris.
All right. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Okay, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. You got something for Shayle?
Yeah, I just was interested if, she's mentioning that she runs sprint cars, and if she had any aspirations to go into, either not street stocks, but I'm thinking of late models or anything like that on dirt.
I haven't thought about doing any late models. We don't really have a lot around here where I'm at. They have a couple of special shows, but nothing weekly racing. But if I ever had the opportunity offered to me to ever get in one to drive for a race, you bet your ass I'd be all over it. I'll drive anything that goes fast around a circle.
Yeah, and you just the tires on it, you'll drive it. I got it.
That's a good racer's attitude there, Shayle. That's interesting, though, that you would jump in a late model like that. If things worked out that way and turned your career took a turn to fendered asphalt racing, would you want to go to cup racing? Would that be the ultimate goal there?
Yes, definitely. That would be a dream come true rather than so much a goal. That'd be amazing right there. But you never know what time will bring.
That's right. You never know what pops up on the horizon. And if any of y'all listening got a late model with an open seat, get in touch with Shayle Bade. I promise you she'll do a good job.
And, hey, you don't need a seat. I can bring my own seat, so no problem.
There you go. Well, Shayle, while we got a minute, take some time and give a shout-out to your sponsors or family or anybody you want to recognize.
Yes, thanks a huge ton to my sponsors this year. You know, without all of their support, we wouldn't be able to be on the track. Helget Construction, MDR, Carpetland, Rose Graphics, Chicks Gear Racewear, TJT Photography, Onyx Wrap, 905 Inc., Good Life Fitness. Thank you guys so much for being a part of my 2016. I hope all of you will return for 2017. My fans and supporters, thank you all for sticking with my team throughout this whole year, through the ups and downs. We've had some bad times, but we've had some great times, which made them all better. And without all of them, 2016 wouldn't have been nearly as fun. So I thank everybody who's been a part of it.
You do have an extremely good fan base, especially with the younger crowd. What motivates you to keep them on your side and keep them entertained?
Well, you know, the younger generation could be the next racing generation and future for racing. So without all the young fans watching and wanting to live the dream, that gives the opportunity to them to want to do something bigger. And I'm actually going to one of my biggest fans' birthday party on Saturday. I'm going to surprise her, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Cool deal, cool deal. Well, one more thing, Shay, tell everybody how they can follow you on social media.
Yes, I keep it really easy. My Facebook racing page is Shayle Bade Racing 03. I also have Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, and they are all the same name of Shayle Bade 03.
Well, that makes it easy enough. If I knew how to use Instagram and everything else, it would be a whole lot easier. But I do what I can.
I'm right there with you, Steve. I really don't know how to use it all, but the best thing I figured out how to do is connect every social media link. That way I post to one and it goes to everything.
There you go. That's a good way to be set up. Well, Shayle, I enjoyed talking to you again. Appreciate you keeping me up to date on Smoky Bacon, and good luck in your last two races, and I hope you get something big lined up for next year. Thanks again for being on.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate your time and everything. Really means a lot to me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm always glad to have you on. I'll check back with you over the off season and see what's happening.
Sounds good. I'll be looking forward to talking with you again.
Me too. Folks, this is Shayle Bade, a very up-and-coming and outstanding sprint car driver. You get a chance, you need to check her out. She's definitely worth a watch. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get our next guest in here, and we'll get started with him. This young man I don't know much about, but I'm getting ready to learn. His name is Gannon Pritchard, and we're going to hear what he's got to tell us about his racing and everything. Gannon, how you doing, son?
It's Gannon, like a cannon, but with a G.
All right, sorry about that. I'm famous for being able to mutilate names.
You're in the right business.
Yeah, there you go. How's everything been going? How's your season going so far?
It's good. Just getting going this year, doing the street stocks, driving those. Have you followed along with any of the webisodes or anything we got going on?
I keep up with what Chris Creighton's got going at Why Not, and that's pretty much about it right now.
Gotcha.
Have you been successful this year?
Yeah. It's been a pretty good year. I can't complain. It's been running pretty much top of the pack. So dirt racing's a new thing for us. New challenge. Want to start in dirt and drive to Daytona. So we're starting the the venture's called that we're doing, Chasing a Dream from Dirt to Daytona. So starting at the bottom and driving our way to the top. So it's kind of a cool adventure, cool ride, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Tell us about the Racing for Dream deal, Gannon. Tell everybody what that's all about.
Well, essentially, we're driving, from dirt to Daytona. Everyone knows about NASCAR, and, it's great and all, but I feel like there's so much more to racing than NASCAR, and I think the fans are kind of feeling the same way. You can look in the stands, and there's really not a whole lot of people there these days. And there's a reason behind that, because I feel like it's kind of neglected the blue-collar American race fan in a sense, and I feel like they feel like their sport isn't the same as it used to be a little bit. And NASCAR's such it's everything I've grown up loving. It's the best thing as a kid to be a part of, and as a sport that I truly admire. But I feel like it's kind of lost its way a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to kind of circle back around the wagon and start at the bottom and work our way back up to it, and get to, as we drive and race, build those dirt track fans up and give them a little bit of a voice. And then as the journey continues, kind of have our part in bringing people back to the stands, because that's really, at the end of the day, we want to pack the stands, get kids involved in racing, and just get the sport back on track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good idea. What do you think about that, Mike?
Yeah, well, you and I both know I'm in the Northeast. You're in North Carolina there, and we're both asphalt. And Chris knows more about the dirt, but I agree. I think you bring the fans of dirt racing more recognition, or like you said, be neglected, or not neglected, but overlooked a little bit. And because different parts of the country have more dirt tracks than others, and so I can see what he's saying, and it's a good point.
And at the same time, it's not really one versus the other. It's not dirt versus asphalt. At the end of the day, we're all racers. We're all race fans. I can go to an asphalt race and have just as much fun almost as I can have just as much fun as an asphalt track. Because I grew up racing asphalt in Tucson, Arizona, at the 3/8 mile track out there at TRP, and all my best friends and my best memories are on an asphalt track. So dirt, it's just a different place, but the fans are the same. We're all racers. We all like to go fast. We're all the same people. So I would just like to, if anything, bring it all together, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's one of those things where it's, as you race and you progress, you get more fans, and then they follow the journey, and then next year we're going to be racing asphalt and dirt, so we're going to be crossing it up. And and those fans can come back and forth to different tracks and try them both out,
Right. No, I just meant it in terms of location, like where I'm specialized in the Northeast, like the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. There really isn't, one dirt track that stands out, at all. It's basically all asphalt, and Steve said the same thing, and yet where Chris is from, the majority seems like they're dirt tracks. So I'm just saying there's parts of the country,
Gotcha.
Maybe
100%.
Maybe in the Midwest it's more of a mix, Kansas or whatever. But that I'm not familiar with. But I know that in my particular area, there's like zero, maybe one dirt track in the whole tri-state area, and the rest is all asphalt.
Gotcha. Yep. No, and I spent a lot of time up in the Northeast with doing NASCAR stuff, and I love those big modifieds you guys got up there, man. Those things are awesome. Yep,
600 horsepower, and they're the top drawer no matter where they run. And then you have the modifieds under that with a little less horsepower, etc. But like you say, that's the draw up in the Northeast.
Yeah. And I just think that race fans in general, with social media and just the ability to see different things, I think they're receptive to all kinds of racing. Even if they can't go to the track, maybe their track is just dirt or just asphalt, but they can still follow along and stay up to date with other kinds of. I'm even learning about different kinds of racing, like off-road racing and Baja, and I've never been involved with IndyCar or Formula One, but I find myself actually looking at that a little bit, which is like alien to me. But as I learn more about different kinds of racing, because my history has always been NASCAR, it's kind of cool to see the different kinds of racing and see the competition there too.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you on one thing with social media and with the internet in general. That's how I'm learning about dirt track. In addition to being involved with the 110 Nation and listening to shows like Steve's now, and it's more specialized in that area and so forth. Plus, some of the guests we have are dirt racers. That's how you learn. And
yep.
So I'm learning more than when I started with the 110 Nation. So same idea. You learn on the internet, and you definitely follow racing because, like you said, racing is racing. It's just different types of cars, maybe, but it's all speed related.
We're all a little weird and a little crazy at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. There you go.
And you said you were going to race dirt and asphalt this season coming up. What classes are you going to be running in?
So for dirt, we're looking at continuing with the street stock program we have now, because for a lot of reasons, actually, they're more like cars, I guess. They're just chassis that are skinned and essentially, but they're more recognizable as cars. And our sponsor is really, they like that. They like the fact that we drive a Camaro, whereas a late model, it's kind of it looks like an alien car to a lot of people. I like them, but they look like spaceships. And a lot of the sponsor may not with what they're trying to get their product out, it makes more sense with the street stock. Whereas on the late model side of it, there's a possibility of doing some late model racing. And that would be fantastic as well, because that's kind of that resembles a car, and the sponsors they might like that route as well. So we're thinking street stock and dirt, and we'll try a few late model runs as well. Maybe hopefully like 5 in, and then besides that, we'll be primarily street stock and dirt, and then probably late models in asphalt.
That's cool. What y'all were talking about a minute ago, dirt racing's big in the Midwest, asphalt modified racing in the Northeast, and here in the Southeast, it's all about asphalt late model racing. What are some of the tracks you plan on visiting with the late model?
We're just going to keep it local at this time, so we're going to be, for asphalt, it would probably be Highland Rim Raceway here north of Nashville, and then Nashville Speedway, or not Speedway, just the Nashville, the half-mile high bank here in Nashville. And that's where we'd probably stay with asphalt. And then on the dirt side of things, it'd be between Winchester, Tennessee, Duck River, and Thunder Hill. So we're going to just go to wherever we feel is, a lot of it comes down to the track, too, because we're going to be doing a lot of cool and fun stuff with the fans. So whoever, is more fan interactive, and the best racing, we're going to go there. So that's we have it narrowed down to those tracks.
That's just that's a lot of traveling you got planned on going there. A lot of racing too.
Well,
is that the way
luckily
you
it's
like
all
it?
within about. Yeah, well, luckily it's all within like an hour, so it's a lot of racetracks in a small area, which is good. Otherwise, because racing's not the full-time job. Racing is just it's a full-time job away from your full-time job. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's after you get off work, you gotta go work on the race car, and you gotta do your thing. And on the weekend, it's full-time. And then when it rains out, you spend all that time for the rain, and you wonder why you did it. And then when you do race and you come in sideways in second place, it all makes sense again. So luckily we have a lot of racetracks that are close.
I've always always been told the two worst places to be in the rain is either at the beach or at the racetrack. That there's just your attitude just sinks so much when you're not getting to use that day. You talk about racing being a full-time job. Do you prefer to race every weekend and as many times as you can, or do you like to set your schedule out so that it's not time-consuming, that you have some off time in addition?
Well, it's a good question. This year it's been kind of every single week because I haven't been racing full-time. It's been a while since I've actually, had a ride and we could race consistently, So I'm getting on the bugs, all the adrenaline out, I guess. Next year, I say will probably be, maybe 3 times a month. I say that, but you never know how things can go. It might be 6 times a week for all I know. You know how racers are. You think logically when you're not racing, and then when you get racing, then all that logic and all those brains that you thought you had go out the window. Yeah,
I know what you mean there. So which is more in line with your future, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish in racing? Is it dirt or is it asphalt?
It's weird, now that I'm just over 30 years old, and I have I have my job that I really enjoy, and I'm in a different place now. When I was 20, it was different. You know what I mean? I was down to go gung ho, but at this point, I've been able to meet. It's takes you a little bit longer than you would think in a lot of areas, but I'm happy right where I'm at. Just doing this is a lot of having fun doing it. If I can break even, that'd be fantastic, and just getting the word out and just having some fun with with chasing the dream and getting the word out about racing and whatnot. So there's really no timetable. I have a hard time. I used to look at age and think, oh man, if you're not over 20, if you're over 25, you're done. Then Mark Martin goes out there at 55 and almost wins the championship. It makes you scratch your head and ask yourself if it really matters that much. Jimmy Johnson, these guys in Cup are all get aged, and they're a little bit older now, and there's not a guy in his 20s that can go up there and work a car like they can. With age comes a lot of experience and a lot of factors that you don't have when you're younger, like patience and a lot of things that I used to not have. I was always go. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of benefits to getting older and racing cars. There's things that you actually become better at that you're not as good at. You have raw talent when you're younger, but when you get older, there's things that you do different, and you maybe be half of a tenth off the qualifying run, but you're also 10 positions ahead when they enter at the end of the race. So 6 ways, half a dozen of another.
That's cool. That proves that old saying that old age and treachery will beat youth and exuberance every time. So being 30, you've got plenty of years of experience under your belt and a lot of track savvy built up where you're more likely to pick and choose your openings and your places to pass. As, like you said, opposed you were younger and just gung-ho to get it done.
Yeah. I don't know. It's almost like you see things happen before they happen. When you're younger, you don't see those things. You just kind of go for it, and doors shut. When you're older, it's like you already know what's going to happen before it happens. So sometimes when you don't, sometimes I won't race a guy when I'm looking down and the guy's out of control. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll just let him go, because I know he's not going to be there at the end of the race. He's just going to either clean himself out, clean the guy out next to him. And it happens so often where I could battle this guy and waste my tires and waste my car, or I could just let him go and either give him a nice little bump and run or just let him crash himself out. And 9 times out of 10, it seems like it's actually the better way to go sometimes when there's, you have that guy. And there's different situations. If you're running for the win, you got to get up on the wheel and go. But there's things I do different now than I would have definitely done when I was younger. And I'm paying for it, so it's a lot. When you pay for things, you do things different.
Yeah, that brings on a whole different driving style, doesn't it?
It sure does. Big time.
Well, while we got a couple minutes, take some time to give a shout-out to your sponsor, your crew, your family, your shop dog, whoever you want to recognize.
Right on. Well, definitely want to thank GoParts.com. Those guys have been super helpful with everything. They've come on board as our primary sponsor. They really, stepped up and just came through the whole year. We've known those guys for a long time, but the fact they decided to go racing with us is a pretty big thing. Alpine Stars hooked me up with the suit. Showtime Motorsports gave me the T-shirts and hats we have there. Big Performance Carburetors. You guys are looking for an awesome carburetor. Big Performance Carburetors builds a mean carburetor for both circle track and for drag racing. And, just everybody that, makes this thing work. My wife for letting me go race cars, and she's out there supporting me and videoing and doing all that cool stuff that I couldn't do without her. And the team I work with, Blackwell boys and Scott Blackwell and Zach Blackwell. Those guys are my teammates, and without them, it wouldn't be possible. Away from that, just check it out on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook, you can follow the adventure. It's Chasing a Dream on Facebook, and I do video blogs about my race and talk about what happened. So if you're into racing, all kinds of racing, check it out. I think you'll be thoroughly entertained. That's for sure, to see the drive from dirt to Daytona, and we'll see where it goes. I don't know where it's going. All I know is we're going somewhere.
And you're going to ride it till the end, huh?
There you go.
There you go. Well, I'm glad I got to meet you, Gannon. I'm glad I got to talk with you. And I'll definitely be keeping up with you since you're going to be on dirt and asphalt both next year. That sounds exciting to me, very interesting, really. So hopefully I can pick up something. Join my racing group on Facebook, NASCAR and Other Racing, so it'll make it easier for me to keep up with you.
You got it. Will do.
All right, Gannon.
All right.
Thanks again for coming in, and I'll be keeping an eye on you, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks for the chat, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Gannon. That was Mr. Gannon Pritchard. Definitely somebody you want to follow, because him tackling two different surfaces next year, like I said, is something I really want to follow. I really want to see what I can learn comparing the two of them. And now let's get with our other guest who's in the studio now waiting on us. This young man is a dirt driver who also advocates for a very special group. We're going to talk some about that. Say hello to Mr. Kenny Smith. Kenny, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
I saw where you built a new car this year. How'd that work out for you?
Well, it's worked out pretty good. I still got some setup work to do on it. It's just taking a little bit of time. But I had to get the other one done because the first car I had, the head gasket blew out on it.
Oh, man. Well, that's definitely a season ender with the expense and time involved in doing that. So how did your season go? What's your home track? Where do you usually concentrate on running?
Well, my home track is Lee County Speedway in Donaldson, Iowa, which I'm about 2 blocks away from it. I can look out my back window and see the track.
That cuts down on the tow time for sure.
He definitely does that. But I've also raced at several different other tracks and got several specials coming up at different tracks coming up too. 34 Raceway in Burlington, Iowa, Oskaloosa Raceway in Oskaloosa, Southern Iowa Speedway is actually what it's called. That's actually the track that Tony Stewart broke his leg at in a sprint car race at one time. Then I've got Broomfield, Iowa, and then Memphis, Missouri, and then Randolph County, Missouri. I got several tracks to hit yet.
Well, your season isn't done by a long shot then, is it?
Oh, my season won't end until October 29th.
Wow. That sounds like asphalt racing here in the South. We race right on up through Thanksgiving here. What got you interested in racing? What pushed you down that path?
Well, what put me down that path is back when I was really young, we had our own race car. We owned a midget, and we raced out on the West Coast at tracks like Ascot and El Toro and Corona, Manzanita, Arizona, Bull Ring at Vegas, the old Irwindale Speedway, the Orange Show Speedway, and just all over basically the South, the West Coast. Anywhere there was a track, we pretty much raced it.
I'd been to Orange Show, and I went to Ascot quite a bit with my dad, and they always put on a good show at Ascot.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they had some good shows there. I hate that track is gone for one, but that's the way it goes. I know you race for a cause, not just because you want to be out there, but you want to help advocate a group. Tell us about what you do with the soldiers with PTSD.
Well, what I do and what I'm trying to do, even on a bigger scale, is get help for especially veterans that suffer from PTSD. Right now, all I'm doing is when I go to these tracks, I talk to other drivers, team members, fans, promoters, track workers, whoever I can talk to. Excuse me. And let them know that, there's people that suffer out there, and the wounds aren't visible. They're internal, and you can't see them. So I'm just trying to get people aware that, you see somebody that might be suffering, it could be because of that right there alone. Now, the big scale I'm trying to work on is I'm trying to get it to where I can get to a non-profit status and actually start funding help for these people.
Good deal, good deal. You served in the military, am I correct?
That's correct. I was in the United States Marine Corps, went through Operation Desert Storm.
My hat's off to you, and thank you for your service, Kenny. You said you wanted to turn this into a non-profit and get some fundraising going and stuff like that. Give me a little bit of an idea of how that would work exactly.
Well, it works like a lot of the other charities that you see out there that I would like it to work like. They'll take donations, grants, whatever funds that can be raised, whether it's through racing, through sponsorships, however, then find these people that need the help, whether it's getting to doctor's appointments, getting medicines, getting to, homes if they're, especially if they're like a homeless veteran or something like that. And finding a way to help them out, whether it's, just gas money to get there or pay for their prescriptions or pay for their doctor visits, because everybody knows that the VA it takes, 15 million years to get through to them.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. In your workings, do you have direct working relationship or friendships with other veterans who suffer from PTSD? Do you involve them in your racing any?
My other goal is to start, finding other veterans and stuff, bring them out to the track, bring them into the pits, get them involved. Do whatever I can to do something for them, to let them know that there are people out there that are trying to help, that care, that want to do some good, and so on and so forth.
Well, that's very admirable of you, Kenny. What do you think, Mike? That's a pretty cool deal, eh?
Yeah, it really is cool. And my dad was in the military. CJ was was in the military. So we're all like connected in some way, and that's really cool that you take your racing and you work in that direction as well.
Well, the way I figured it, I got into racing, several years back, and I've noticed that it helps me with my own personal issues. Right. I was sitting there thinking, well, why not? If it helps me, why can't I use it to help other people too?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it seems like it would, because the amount of concentration you have to put yourself through to race will at least keep your mind clear and get your mind off that other focus.
That's correct. I mean, not only just being in the car, but working on the car, thinking about, setups, tire pressure, so on and so forth. All that stuff comes into play. It keeps you busy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you young, crew chief?
I am not young. I've got a few years on a lot of people.
There you go. Well, nothing wrong with a little age on you. It works for wine. Might as well work for us, too.
That's right.
Oh, that's cool. Take a minute while we got some time here and give a shout-out to anybody you want to recognize. Let people know, what's going on.
Well, I've got several, and I'm going to save the best one for last. So, first person I want to recognize is my better half for putting up with me, doing all this stuff, and she even goes out and will film the races, Periscope, live Periscope racing, shows the races for me and stuff like that. The next one I'd like to thank is, it's called PETM Podcast. It's a couple of guys that are heavily involved with racing and NASCAR, and they have their own podcast they do every week. They liked what I was doing also, and they came on board to help support me and promote me and try and get more exposure for what I'm trying to do also. So if you're on Facebook or Twitter, look up PETM Podcast, and you'll be able to find them, and they do a show every week that talks nothing but racing and a few other minor things. But next one I'd like to thank is the VictoryLaneDomains.com. If you're trying to build a website or need a domain name for a website, check them out. They can hook you up. The last one I really want to do. What's that? What's that? Did you?
No, I was waiting for your last one.
Oh, then my last one is called Signature for Soldiers, that supports military missions in action. What they do is they collect the Signature for Soldiers collects signed sports memorabilia, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, wrestling, NASCAR. If it's sports related and it's autographed, they would love to get a hold of it. Then they turn around and they sell it. And 100% of the proceeds from everything they sell goes to the missions, military missions in action that helps wounded veterans everywhere in the United States.
That's a great cause. That's a good deal there. You talk about you had to thank your better half for putting up with your racing. Do you have any children that are involved in racing or want to be involved in racing?
Mine are too young right now. I'm not sure what they're going to want to do yet. But they do like sitting in the car, so that's a good sign.
Right now, all they're interested in is fresh bottled milk and clean diapers, eh?
Yeah, a little older than that, but they're still, I mean, one's in preschool. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so.
Oh, yeah.
So they're just still quite at the young age, but not quite up the way they need to go yet.
Well, it's never too young to get them started, that's for sure.
Never. No, this season's been pretty good. I've done 26 races, and only 3 of them I finished out of the top 10.
Damn, that is strong. What's your best finish this year?
This year, my best is a 6, but that was because I was still trying to figure out the new car still.
Yeah, I understand that. It takes a few races just to get used to a new ride.
That's right. It's a completely different car, a completely different setup, and this Saturday I'll have another setup under and see how that works.
I'm looking forward to finding out. Keep us informed. Let us know how we can follow you on Facebook, how we can keep up with what you're doing.
Well, if anybody's listening that goes to the NASCAR and other group that I'm part of, which you should very well know, I'm always posting stuff under there, whether it's under my name, Kenneth L. Smith, or if it's under my team page, which is SMAC Motorsports Racing Team. I had to think about it for a second.
That's cool.
I also get a lot of following on Twitter. It's usually where I get a lot more following for some reason. So if anybody has Twitter out there, they can look me up under Twitter too, under USMC Kenny Sargent.
Oh yeah. Well, you're definitely active, and you're part of my group, NASCAR and Other Racing, and that's mostly how I keep up with what you're doing. And I appreciate you joining. And I appreciate you coming on tonight and sitting in with us and let us know what's going on.
Well, I thank you for letting me come on.
Well, I think, the thing that caught my eye and everything was your involvement with veterans that suffer from some of the mental problems, PTSD and everything that have come back from the war, and you're lending a helping hand. And like I said, that's admirable. My hat's off to you for that. And I'm really glad I got to talk with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my main goal. That's my main goal. Is I want to make sure people are getting help that they deserve and that they need. And there's one other person that's actually doing something similar, or actually doing basically the same thing. His name is Michael Barnes out of Ohio, and he runs a late model and uses it for PTSD awareness also.
Cool. That's what this country needs, more people like you willing to help their fellow man. That's really great. And I appreciate you coming on tonight, Kenny, and sitting in with us. Always a pleasure. You've been on before, and I'll definitely have you on again in the future for sure.
Well, I've got some big things working for next year, I hope, and if it all comes through, then you never know. I'm sure you'll see it once I get it all done, but I've hooked up with that Michael Barnes out of Ohio, and we're trying to work together and trying to get some big stuff going.
Well, cool. Good luck with that, and let me know, if you get that off the ground and everything. Thanks again, Kenny, and I'll be back in touch just to check and see what you got going.
Okay, I appreciate it. I thank you for letting me come on in.
Not a problem. Always a pleasure. Good night, bud.
All right, bye.
All right, people, that's going to about wrap it up for the show tonight. We'll go around the table and see what everybody's got going on. We'll start with you, Mr. CJ Sports. What you got planned for in the future?
Tomorrow and Saturday, I will be out at Charlotte for the Carolina Nationals. The NHRA is in town. I will be hanging out with those guys. Make sure you guys tune in Monday through Wednesday next week. The 110 Nation Sports Show kicks off at 8 o'clock. And then Friday and Saturday of next week, the 23rd, 24th, I will be at Kentucky Speedway hanging out with the ARCA Series and the Xfinity Series, doing coverage up there. So if you guys are going to be out and about in those areas, just hit me up at CJ Sports 1 or at 110 Nation. Let me know, and I'd love to meet up with you and hang out with you and at least shoot the breeze with you anyway. Also check our Facebook out, 110 Nation Sports.
Cool deal, yeah. If you see Erica Enders there at Charlotte, tell her I said hello, 'cause I'm a pretty man. She might want to meet me.
I'm definitely going to meet up with her. We've already arranged that. She came on our show a couple weeks ago, and said that the offer is still on the table for me to get in her car from the year before she was on the show. So we've already made connections with her PR, and I'm supposed to get up with them early tomorrow. We also had Hector Arano, pro-stock bike driver, on earlier this week as well, and I'm supposed to get up with him. So I got a pretty eventful day going on tomorrow.
Absolutely. It sounds like it. Mike, while you're here, let everybody know what you're doing these days.
Okay, definitely. Besides being in Steve's group as well, my show tomorrow night, tune in. We have Howie Brody, who is a asphalt modified driver at Riverhead. Got his first victory in some time. As I've been saying all week, he's undergone a victory drought, but he won a very exciting race last Saturday night, and hopefully he's back on the winning track. He had back-to-back titles in 2013 and 2014, and then was undergoing a bad victory drought where he just got into too many other people's messes, and different things happened to him mechanically. But he ended up winning on the last lap restart last week. So it was very, very exciting ending to that race. We'll have him on, and then we'll have a lady who is Jack Hanley's mom, who Jack has been on my show about because he's running a blunderbuss and a truck, and was in the running for championships in both. And his mom is a member of Riverhead Raceway staff. She puts together the program. She is distributed to fans. She takes the pictures. She writes. She does the whole thing, staples it together, whatever. I think she takes it to the printer, everything. So we'll talk to her about what she does week to week as the program changes, and what she goes through till she finally sells the programs to the people at the gate. So those are our two guests tomorrow night. And then all week I'm helping CJ out, and then also I'm on your thread, Steve, and administrator in your page. So we got a full plate, and hosting for the 110 Nation, and so enjoying everything and involved in everything, a little bit of everything all week long.
There you go. Got to keep yourself busy. You want to keep up with Big Sweat, who's turning into a social media sensation. Check me out on Twitter at Big Sweat 4. They call me the NASCAR Heartbreaker and Homewrecker. I've got a blog that I usually put out that I've had trouble getting through to my server on this week, and I'm going to have to switch it over so I can blog through the 110 Nation. So look for that changeover probably next week. Check my group out, NASCAR and Other Racing. We always have a pretty good race thread on. We had a real good group race thread last week for Richmond, and I'm sure we'll have a good one for Chicagoland. So If you're not a member, go ahead and join up. And that's about it. That's about all I've got going on. So, CJ, Mike, we'll talk to you again probably next week. Folks, thanks again for listening in. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Progressive presents Mindfulness with Flo.
You are a mighty fortress of supreme knowledge. Progressive Direct has not only revealed their rates, but those of their top competitors. If you were any more in the know, you would be drowning in, the know.
Compare Progressive Direct rates with top competitors' rates, because knowledge is power. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Fashion Emergency Hotline.
Help! I got rid of all my clothes.
Breathe and explain.
During Fashion Week, everyone looked fantastic, so I decided I needed a new wardrobe.
Well, strut to Old Navy.
Old Navy?
Yes, they have gorgeous floral tops and super on-trend pixie pants to turn your sidewalk into a catwalk. And right now, pixie pants are just $25.
$25?
Yep. Right now, pants and tops at Old Navy are 30 to 50% off.
30 to 50% off? Amazing. Thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank Old Navy. Valid 9/15 to 9/23. Excludes denim and active pants.